Welcome to Classroom Session, a football experience built with purpose. FC Game Changer and Footballer Life created this space to shape smarter players, stronger communities, and a better future for the game. Here, your growth fuels impact. Every session supports the Foundation Ball Donation Initiative, giving kids everywhere a chance to play. Let's dive in and build the future of football, one lesson at a time.
Every rep, every drill got a purpose now. Focus like a laser when it's going down.
All right, we have here our first classroom session. And first, we're going to introduce our sponsor of the day. Today's classroom session is brought to you by Beyond Post. Dave, do you want to talk a little bit more about what Beyond Post is, what they do for us before we get going?
Yeah, I mean, Beyond Pulse is a partner of Footballer Life. We're excited to work with them. They have wearable technology that has a lot of advantages. I know, especially we have a lot of people that are watching that are in our community from Africa. So they have some advantages in their technology in terms of, especially what I think is amazing is it's run by a battery. It lasts 1 to 2 years. So you don't have to put it all into one person's hands and they have to go charge them every day and all that stuff. So it's there's some advantages to that. And so also players can take them home with them. And if they train and wear it, then it actually sends an email with a report with, a bunch of statistics and things, but that can also go to the coach. So anyway, we're excited about that, about their company because it's more affordable than some of the other options. And we want to try to keep, the cost down for these kids and these academies and things. And so that's kind of a high level overview of them, but it's a good product and we're excited for them to sponsor this first episode.
Yeah, and we can't forget, right? Beyond Post will be donating 5 balls to an academy at a certain location that at the end of the episode here, we're going to tell you what academy that is and what location that academy
and if you don't know, this is the ball right here. It's being donated all around the world, mostly in East Africa right now. So that's what Armando is talking about as the Football Life Foundation ball. So yeah, so the guys at Beyond Pulse are donating 5, so we're excited, but we won't announce it till the end.
Exactly. So you have to watch. Yeah, exactly. You have to watch, listen all the way to the end so you can see who is the winner for the 5 balls that Beyond Post is going to be donating. And also, for those of you watching, there's a QR code on the screen here that you can scan. It's going to take you directly to the link for you. If you want to donate 1, 5, 10, it doesn't matter. These balls will make a massive difference for, players that they've been training with no balls whatsoever. So even if it's just 1 ball, go ahead, scan the QR code, make a donation today. And for you guys listening to the episode here, we have the link in the show notes below. Go ahead, click the link and donate 1 ball today. You're going to be making a huge difference. Cool. Right now, this is a collaboration between FC Game Changer and Footballer Life, right? Myself, Armando, my co-host, Dave Clarke from Footballer Life. We're here today with Marti Torres. He's the CEO of Hera Interconnection, and this should be super, super fun. Marti founded Hera just 3 years ago, and in that short time, it has rapidly become one of the most visionary sports management organizations shaping the future of African football. Their mission goes far beyond the pitch, right? Empowering the next generation of athletes, in strengthening clubs, academies, schools, and federations, creating community programs that uplift and inspire, building system rooting in collaboration, inclusivity, and long-term social impact. Marti, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, guys, for welcoming us today here as part of Hera. And as you just mentioned, the founder and the CEO of Hera Interconnection. I'm very, very happy to be here with such team. We've been collaborating with David and with Football Life for many months already with quite impactful projects with very short time. So we hope that with the initiative like this one, we're going to spread the word. So very happy to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Now, we're super excited to have you here. And we have a few questions for you. And what inspired you to start New Hera 3 years ago, and what problem were you trying to solve in the football ecosystem?
So that's a very good question. I think to me, football has been always been my passion. Football, sports. I've played probably all sorts of sports and always feeling it at a very competitive level. But to me, what football in this case and sports, like for example tennis and so on, brought me personally was really more off the pitch than what I got on the pitch. I didn't make it to play professional as I chose for futsal, which is as a minor sport. So I never saw it as a real career, but I still played at a very good level until 28 or so. And it's when I realized that I wanted to focus more on the management, on developing projects, and so on. And then the fact that Africa came into my mind. I think my dad used to travel a lot to Africa for long periods with a photographer, with a media guy. So I was listening a lot and I was seeing a lot from Africa. So I always had Africa in my mind. So I think when I was 25, I had a serious injury. I spent a lot of time in the hospital. I was focusing my career on a different kind of industry, because sport by that time it was not as it is today, right? That everyone understands that this is a business and this is an industry and it has potential. So I think on that time it's when I realized, I said, I want to make my life out of football, and I want to help young athletes on many paths or on many areas which I didn't have that support, and I want to do it in Africa. Okay, so I think to me, this fact, and also the one that when I went to Kenya back in 2018 to open an FC Barcelona academy, I think what I saw there, the potential, I saw also the issues that I saw in terms of structures, also a lot of agency coming with scam kind of programs, like young kids being exploited somehow, seeing them placed in Europe with no real opportunities, then having to kind of rescue them from Sweden, from Spain. And so a lot of things that I saw that people was not doing well for the benefit of the children, which at the end of the day, it's the main objective of New Hera. So I think those things were the motivation that took myself and our team to start this company.
Now that's so interesting. Why Africa?
Yes, I think Africa because of this connection of my dad with Africa. Also, I've always enjoyed living abroad from Spain. So I lived most of my life. I lived in more than 6 countries in my life. I've lived in probably all the continents minus yours in this case, North America. But in the rest, I've lived. And I really learned from different cultures, and I think Africa really captured me because of the vibrancy, of the big smiles, that you can feel when you are there. I'm sure David has felt this from the first day, like these boys and girls, they have nothing. And they don't complain. You see big smiles, you see passion, so those kind of things to me were like, okay, I want to do something here. Like in Europe, we already have so many opportunities. We already have so many systems in place. Like you compete for 1 cent at the end of the day, while you have a full continent that is ready to be developed, and to be developed with what we have learned. Seeing what we have been lucky to see, in this case in Europe or in North America, but they've not had these chances. So to me, I want to give back. I want to give these opportunities to those who have not had the chances that I've had personally, in terms of education, opportunities, meeting people, networking, simple things as balls, boots, and so on, right? That looks so simple when you're in this side of the world, But yeah, that's why probably Africa as a first step. Yeah.
Marty, so real quick, just to follow up on that, like explain, everyone thinks that you're always targeting professional opportunities in this game, but it's really, that's a very small portion of what is happening, so like give us a little context. And I know this, I just want you to tell it, like give me a little context on like, the other pieces that you're trying to help with in terms of education or just hope, even, some of these pieces that are outside of being a professional,
Yeah, actually, like this part of the professional, where probably like most of the agencies or most of the people, when they come to work to Africa, usually the main objective is, let's pick up some talent here, let's take it to Europe, let's try to make something out of it, right? So to us, actually, this concept of agency actually came the last thing of the project, right? We wanted to build a house from the bottom. We wanted to develop the product so that the product is ready to be exposed, right? I think this is something that I always keep telling to the academies and so on. Like when everyone asks you to expose, I think right now we're in a technology moment that we're able to do so. And I think Football Alive app is one of the tools that we're going to use for that exposure to be there. But now what we expose, this is what makes a difference. So if we don't develop the grassroots from the coaching to the management to the leading, and of course falls back to the players at the last stage of the layer, I think there is no improvement. There is nothing that you can really get the maximum value of it. Like when you export it abroad. So in this line, I think we work with coaches development. I think we're doing a very, very strong coaching development with all our coaches. We do after school programs. So we do academy within school setups. And we have a very strong capacity building program for our coaches. As of today, more than 10 coaches being developed in the Cry football methodology. So Cry Football also is our partners, and we work with them in several areas. But one of them is the coaching development through the Football Cry methodology, which is it's a deep platform where we have a lot of content, where our coaches do different licensing, where they can see all these sessions for a whole year for each age group, and we keep trying to do this kind of sessions, not just from the football aspect, but also in safeguarding, first aid. I don't know, like for example, football analysis, game analysis, and so on. So our coaches also have many areas developed, and of course they can impact our children and give more opportunities. So those are one of the projects, capacity building for our coaches. We also work with schools, as David has said. We also partner with local academies. We support them also in terms of coaching capacity building, also in assessing, like consultancy basis. We also do organized trips. So, for example, today we have an all-stars team from Africa. We are very happy because it's been a struggle to get kids from different parts of Africa, dealing with visas, sponsoring those kids, because some of them are from really difficult backgrounds, deal with the schools, the parents, sometimes no parents. So finally today they are landing in like 2 hours here to Barcelona to play the Cruyff tournament. And that's going to be an amazing exposure for them, because those kids probably, part of them, they've never gone out of even their villages or their school and surroundings. And they're going to be playing against Spanish teams like Rayo Vallecano, Villarreal, Madrid, Man City, and so on. So I think those kind of little exposures, experiences that we can give to 10 boys, we believe it's also a big impact, and we hope that together with this kind of collaborations, opening the network, the collaboration, we can extend these opportunities, and give these kind of sponsorships, scholarships to more kids, more girls every single day. So those are some of the things, David, I think you were mentioning, right?
So Armando, real quickly, since this is a classroom session, first homework for these youngsters, okay? Look up Cruyff. Okay?
100%.
Look him up. And I'm telling you, you will be shocked. He's one of the best players to ever play, and maybe the best coach that ever coached.
100%.
You know, so I mean, it's amazing, like his story. So make sure that's homework assignment number one is look this guy up.
Yeah, no, amazing. It's so much history there, like you said, player, amazing, and also a coach. It's funny because I just watched an interview with Romario from Brazil, right? And Cruyff was his coach, and Romario, up to like today, they asked him, hey, tell us your favorite, your best coach that you've ever had. Of course, he said, yeah, no one better than Cruyff. It was when he was playing at Barcelona. And for someone like Romario to say that, you know, with what he's done in football, it means something. So, yeah, go look him up.
If I real quickly on Cruyff. So I think that when he went to Barcelona, they were really doing poorly when he first signed there. And then I don't think they lost another game after he came for the rest of the season.
Yep.
Something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. No, amazing.
That's how good a player he was.
He changed the history of Barcelona football, of Spanish football, of European football, and I would say worldwide football, because if we see the influences that Guardiola, Arteta, Luis Enrique, Flick, for example, like many coaches that today are at that level, we see a lot of influence from Johan Cruyff, and that's crazy coming from that particular period, right? To me, that's why we saw this as one of the biggest legacies in terms of coaches, because if we look at a coach legacy that has left like a methodology itself, a clear concept, a way to train, drills, exact drills, there's not many, you know, like there's historical coaches for sure, but someone who has left this legacy, I think Cruyff is one of the biggest, and that's what we wanted to bring to Africa, because we know there's physical players, we've seen strong football and so on, but there's actually a lot of passion for tiki-taka kind of football in Africa as well, you know. So when we bring Cruyff, we try to bring happy football, fun football, offensive football, possession-based football. So to change the narrative, sometimes that African football can only play like direct football, speed football, strong football. This is not the reality.
Yeah. Marty, so tell us in terms of like the current state of football in Africa right now, because you've mentioned a few things here, but for people watching and listening in terms of trying to help, trying to get in contact with us, with you, explain what is the current situation right now? What are these kids going through right now in terms of resources, you know, equipment and all of that?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a very good point. And also, when we talk about Africa, I would split in different areas, of course, like north of Africa, like with Morocco and Algeria and so on, Tunisia. These countries are probably more developed as of today, and the governments have invested for the last years quite a lot. And actually, you can see the results of such in the national teams, in the youth teams, in the first team. Like the investment is being reflected. But now if we look at, for example, Western or Eastern Africa, I think the challenge is usually the lack of structures, the lack of the proper education for coaches. Most of the academies struggle to get numbers of balls. So you go to most of the academies, I would say 90% of the academies are lacking balls. Equipment, basic equipment as cones and stuff like this, a lot of times is missing. Also sometimes like not giving something but teaching, you know, like these academy managements in terms of technology implementation. So to be within Football Alive app, different apps where they can get in touch and they can spread what they do as well. And also what we try to do is we try to educate a lot on, I mean, if you're opening an academy, you need to understand what are you going to need, and you need to plan, and you need to have a plan, right? So it's not, I'm opening an academy today and tomorrow I'm asking for balls, I'm asking for t-shirts and so on. So to me, I think education. So people who is ready to come and do one session for the coaches, for academies for free, those things are like extremely high appreciated by most of the coaches, academies, managers, and so on. But then, of course, balls, equipment. So any kind of support that can go through trustworthy kind of institutions, like in this case, Football Alive, ourselves, and so on. I think they can make a lot of impact if we trace them and we use them well. So to me, we can ask and we can tell here to our audience, yes, we're legitimate people where you can support in terms of balls, equipment, education, finance, but we will use it the right way. We will track and we will try to make it work, and that's actually, to me, one of the values we bring as New Heres. Okay, if you want to do something in East Africa and Africa, your money is going to be well used and it's going to create an impact.
Yeah. Dave, break that down for us, because you also have experience with that. You've shared with me in terms of numbers of athletes in certain academies per ball, right? So just to kind of illustrate a little bit more to the audience here, what are we talking about?
So we have extensively surveyed, people over the last few years, mostly in East Africa, but other areas as well in Africa. And we've found that many times it's around 60 players per ball in an academy. So you might have like a few teams of girls and boys that maybe has 100 or 120 kids, but they only have 2 balls. And so, for me, it's interesting to ask someone in Africa how many balls they have in a certain academy or a school, and they actually know the exact number. Almost like they've named them. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're that important, right? Like, I mean, in the U.S., if you asked an academy how many balls, they'd be like, 120. I don't know. Like, we don't know. And so, but what it does is it actually suppresses 2 things. It suppresses participation rates, right? If you're a parent that has to walk 20 minutes to training or even drive or whatever and use resources, and you show up at training and there's 1 ball for 40 kids, I would be like, this is wasting our time. You know what I mean? Like, it's not worth the time to go, And so we've actually had people in those areas tell us that if we had access to more balls, we'd have kids coming out of the woodwork from those slums and things, right? Girls would come play, because they actually have a ball that they can touch, instead of just doing push-ups or running. I'm not sure what they do. It's difficult. They're just trying to figure out the best way. So anyway, it's a big issue with the equipment. The other thing is just it's affecting the talent pool, because if you have a kid that only touches the ball 4 to 10 times a week, I don't care. It could be Messi. If Messi touched the ball 4 to 10 times a week, Messi wouldn't be Messi, right?
100%.
Messi would be working at McDonald's probably or something. You know what I mean? Or whatever. It'd be a different Messi. I don't know what he'd be doing. Maybe he'd be a professor or something. But it's like he wouldn't be a footballer. You're right. So it's like, how can you say Kenya's not a good footballing nation when they have 1 ball per 60 kids?
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's. I think it's good for the audience here, because I mean, you nailed it. It's the amount of time. Myself, right? When I'm coaching, when I'm creating content, what I always try to tell the athletes, have a ball. As many touches as you possibly can. Even if you're at home, keep the ball on your feet. I think that relationship, right? The more touches, the more you get familiar with the ball, the better you're going to become, the more familiar with the ball you're going to become. But in a situation like that, like you said, right, 60, players for 1 ball or 2 balls, it's very, very hard, because, they could be extremely talented and they could maybe through training become, let's say, the next Messi. Because of the lack of resources, they will never achieve that full potential. And it's not just about football, right? I think it's about, like Marty was explaining too, it goes beyond that. It's life-changing for them to get visibility, to get exposure, education, traveling, all of these things that we're here using football as a tool to drive them to many possibilities in their lives that they, because of the lack of resources, they can't access that. So I'm going to repeat that again for you guys watching. There's a QR code at the screen here. Make sure to scan the code. It's going to take you directly to donate about donate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't matter. It's going to make a massive difference for these athletes. And for people listening, the link is down below at the show notes. So click that link. It's going to take you to the website directly to donate a ball. So make sure you do that. Again, even if it is one ball, you're already making a huge difference. Marti, let me get back to you. We talked about current state, but in your eyes, with your experience, what does the future of African football look like to you?
So to me, the future of African football, I think it's incredibly bright. To be honest, we're just at the beginning for how I see it of a decade that will transform the landscape of African football. To be honest, I think we've been hearing a lot from many World Cups when, I don't know, maybe Ghana or some national teams were performing quite well, and you were listening people, someday Africa will be there, will win a World Cup and so on. So you've been hearing these kind of things and really never kind of happening, even though we see in many European national teams or so on that a lot of the players, their parents are African natives. So, I mean, that already says quite a lot. But yeah, I think the corporates now, the clubs, agencies are increasingly investing in Africa. We are really seeing it increasing as a kind of a snowball effect in the last very short period. In the last 1 year, 2 years, you can see a lot of things going on. So to me, I think African athletes already dominate, as I said, in many global sports. So I think it's a matter of time. Then I think, to me, and it's one of the segments we're focusing a lot also, I think, with Football Alive and with David in this case is the women's side. I think it's booming. And it's the good thing, or the positive thing, is that it's still closer to the top level globally, right? Because it's been developed a little bit later on. So the difference or the gap, it's a little bit smaller. So that makes it a bigger opportunity, even than men's football. So I think if we look at the American leagues right now, we can see already top players, or the players that are being the most paid in the leagues, being African from Zambia, some of them, and so on. So this is already saying quite a lot. So to me, this is just the start. People is realizing that to Africa you just don't go to open an NGO, but also that you can develop, you can set businesses, you can nurture talent, and you can of course end up exposing this talent. But from my end, always, and for everyone that is listening, I think we can never forget that the players are persons, are human beings as the three of us, right? Sometimes I think we fully forget that those boys or girls, they're 16, 17, 18, we treat them as they were adults with a lot of experience and so on, and they're just children, that we need to mentor, we need to guide them, and I think that's something that that in the African football we need to protect, and we need to make it in a way that will always benefit the players or the children in this case.
Yeah. Since you mentioned that, for young players, coaches, who want to use football as a tool for change, what's the single most important piece of advice you'd give them?
That's a good question. To me, again, one of the things that I've learned from football, and it served me also through business and through life, it's to be a good person. I think that's the literally the most important, because I mean, to train more, good. We all know what you need to do on the pitch. Already we can see a lot of videos, we can see a lot of information. Right now, like there's literally a lot of things you can do on the pitch, but also in terms of invisible training, meaning how you eat, how you stretch, how you take care of your emotions, how you breathe. So extremely we call it the invisible training, which as of today probably it's even more important than what you do on the field, because it's more time what you do off the field than what you do on the field. Same as what you do on the field without the ball, it's more important than what you do with the ball, because I think how many seconds during a match you touch the ball. If you count the seconds, the average, depending on the style of play, depending on the position, but it's not more than 90 seconds per player most of the times. So when we look at this invisible training, it's very important outside the field, what you do on the field without the ball, but also, as I was saying, to be a good person, to be a good teammate. I think to put the team always in front of the individual, because I think when we look at this from the scouting also perspective, or when the scouts tell us what they're not looking at this individual player that will try to show off and make, like some crazy moves and score 5 goals. They want to see a team player. They want to see someone that motivates the team when they're in a weak moment, someone that makes the easy things always perfect, that always finds solutions. So those kind of little things, they need to be there. So you need to be a team player. And then finally, to me, when you are into that period of succeeding, I think it's very important that you remember where you come from, and particularly from everywhere in the world, right? But when it comes to Africa, to remember your roots, to remain humble, and try to give back, because at the end of the day, the football career is very short, and what you do after that, it's also going to determine a lot of things in your future. If you're just going to leave a legacy on the field, it's very short. The memory is very short. Of course, if you're Messi, if you're Romario, a few players, people will remember forever. But for most of the players in the world, the day you retire, next day, you are not the same. People is not calling you at the same level. The banks are not offering you the same deals, and all those kind of things. So, I mean, try to do things, impactful things, when you are also a player. And I think, David, that was very fun to me when I was talking to Rodrigo, which is now playing in the US. He played in Villarreal and so on. And I told him, do you have time for all these things you are doing with Football Alive, with us? And he told me, it's this thing that the players don't have time. This is fake. How many hours we train a day, then you just keep reminding the shot you miss on the training, you play PlayStation for 3 hours. You waste 10 years of your life, which you had all the doors open, for opportunities and to make impact, to change lives, and so on. So that's something we always tell our boys and girls, when we mentor them, or if we want to work with them, we say, look, about the football aspect, good, about you, perfect. But we want to work with people. We want to work with people that we're going to be proud of. If not, if what you're looking at is only to generate money and find a work, no worries. I mean, we don't work this way, okay? We work our way. We have our values, very clear values. And if you are not aligned with them, then, you are very open to find any other institution to work with.
Yeah. And there's so many things that you said there, the number one, stay invisible training. I've never thought about it that way, because you're right. FC Game Changer, we have 3 pillars. It's mindset, is strength, and nutrition. And we try to always, when we're creating content or when we bring people to the podcast, they need to be experts on those things, right? We also bring current, former coaches, players, but those three are the pillars, and you mentioned that, right? That's huge for off the field. That's going to influence them on the field, right? So that's huge. Another thing too that you mentioned,
quickly, Armando, I want to plug something real quick, because that's set up perfectly for it. And I'm a third party, so I agree exactly with what Marty said, but with FC Game Changer and Armando, the reason we partner with them is because they bring real world, education for aspiring players in that invisible training. That's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's not theory, it's actually on the pitch. It's how you stretch, it's all these different things. And so for us, that's the reason why we love the content from FC Game Changer and why we want to really focus on their content on our platform and to our community, is because of that value it brings. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that it's great content. And you guys, for the people that are watching this that don't know Armando and FC Game Changer, you gotta follow them. You gotta come on Football Life or wherever their other channels are and go follow them, because it's great content.
Yeah, no, thank you for that, because that's the goal, right? Because from experience, right, playing at a high level, coming from Brazil, playing here at university, semi-pro, but also after I graduated, I worked at a physical therapy place for nearly 8 to 10 years, and I've helped over 5,000 soccer players in that location. And all that we did was based on research, and we had the tools to test and retest and see exactly what works and what doesn't. So I also coached, but then it got to a point that, in person, you can only help and see so many people. So online now I'm able to reach millions of people with the content that I create. So that's the main reason. So I really liked how you framed that invisible training, because that is right. It's invisible training that will carry over to the field. Another thing too that you mentioned was the how short, right, the football career is versus post career. Right? If you just think about playing the game at that short, and sometimes it's even shorter. What if you get hurt? What if you can't come back from an ACL or 2 ACL surgeries or whatever injuries those are, right? So that's going to shorten your career even more. But now taking advantage of that time, like you said, having the doors open, right, during that time to then carry over after, your football career. I thought that was, it's really good for players, they're, aspiring to become professional players, but also having that mindset already. This is not all of it, right? It's, I have to think about my after, my post career too. Yeah, I really like the way you framed that.
I think it's like making the Coke recipe, right? That no one knows. There's so many ingredients that you need to have. But at the end of the day, also there's there's life, right? That we don't control. The destiny, call it God, call it destiny, call it luck, call it unluck. That you dedicate all your life to one goal, and the day you are almost there, it can be destroyed. So that's why, to me, to remain humble, a good person, and so on, will open you a lot of doors, in case things also don't go as you wish. So to me also, of course, I take this chance to invite you to, I think, in our capacity building, in the things we're doing in Africa, people like you, and with the kind of concept that you have. I mean, the doors are extremely open to try to impact African coaches, find ways, if it's online, if it's physical, of course, we would be so happy that someday you travel with David and come to see us there. So, I mean, extremely open and happy to also collaborate and see how we can impact coaches and players together as well.
100%. I would love to even online, right? You can always follow FC Game Changer. We post content at least once a day, every single day. But also, it'd be awesome to run clinics for the coaches, for the players in Africa, right? So giving them a blueprint of, you know, the best ways, but not only the best ways, right? It's the tested ways where the players can get the most out of it, but also the coaches can gain the most amount of knowledge so they can pass along to the players. I would love to do that. Come in and run a full-on clinic, and then they're going to leave with everything they need to know in order to, you know, in the future, just progress with that training for the athletes. That would be awesome.
Yeah, we hear like number one, people say we need equipment, always equipment, but then number two, by far number two is education. All the time, coaches say, "Can you bring education to the platform, you know, or to our academy or whatever?" So it's like the education piece is massive. I mean, it's really underrepresented. I think people don't realize how important that is, and the gap there is there. So
yeah. So now let's move along. We have a few questions here from players. Okay, it's the part that we do a Q&A. These questions are to you, Marty, and Dave. Jump in if you have anything to add on to these questions. Question number one: what is the single best piece of advice you have for a young African player trying to get noticed by international scouts?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a question, David, that when we do online sessions with academy and so on, I think we get this question quite a lot, right? And to me, when I hear this question, and I think in line with what I was saying before, is that when we go to Kenya, I see a lot of kids, and they tell me like, "Oh, are you scouting me now? Are you watching?" Like, and I tell to all these players, like, what do you do when there's non-scout or someone who is looking at you? Are you training at your maximum, or you are only training when someone is watching you? Because that's what's going to make the big difference here, you know? Like, the only thing you can do and you can control is to give your 1,000% every single day in everything you do, in football, in life, whatever it is. Now, maybe 20 years ago, I would tell you, to get exposure and so on, you need to take a bus, maybe from a village here. It's very hard. But nowadays, I think with the technology, I think with tools like Football Alive again, which I think that's the best answer. Actually, like, go make your profile in Football Alive, and there you will be seen. But now, for you to be seen at the highest level, I mean, work, train, listen to your coach, sleep well, eat well, you know, like stretch, all these things that I think players, most of them already know. But in terms of like exposure, I mean, I don't think there is better response than join Football Alive community, and you will be seen by us, but also you will be seen by clubs. You will be seen by many other stakeholders in the near future. I'm sure David will be adding here.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, not to kill Marty's inbox, but create a profile and you can message Marty directly, you know, or myself, or even Armando at FC Game Changer. So it's a way to connect with people, you know, for sure. So yeah, create a profile and connect with us, and we'll do the best we can to make sure that you know, you get the exposure that you deserve. I mean, not everyone is going to play at the highest level just because they want to, you know, but we're happy to connect with people. So yes, for sure, create a profile, message me. I'm happy. I message people all day long, all over the world, and I'm happy to do it. So.
And by the way, for those that don't know, to download the Footballer Life app, it's completely free. So we also have a link down below. Go ahead, click that link and download right now. It doesn't take much time. It's completely free. And like Marty and Dave, they said, there you're going to be connected to scouts, players, coaches from all over the world. And you have the ability to message them. And myself, we have a profile there. directly. So go ahead, download the Football Life right now. It's free.
And I think to add on a little bit on this, apart from these connections with agents and so on, I think one of the objectives we have with David is to offer value within the platform, right? I think to offer, we organized, for example, some trials. I think it was a few months ago in Nairobi. I think we had like over 60 players from the app that had the chance to be scouted. I think that from the group that we're having today, this All-Stars team, there are 3 players. Actually, there were 4, but one was visa rejected. But there are 3 players, David, that we had on those trials that we assessed, that actually I talked to some of the families. They are at the level. And for example, right now they're having the opportunity to be exposed in a top tournament in Barcelona. So, I mean, through the app also, be aware, follow it up, because we're going to be announcing this kind of actions, pathways, and so on quite often.
And maybe in the future, we'll be moving to Sao Paulo, Brazil, or some other areas soon. We're talking about that. You know, that's special to Armando, but it's like, that field in Nairobi when we were there, I mean, I think there was 5 or 6 youth internationals on that field, you know, from different countries. I mean, there was some talent there. I mean, amazing kids. Amazing players, you know, and so that's just the beginning. But yeah, that's exciting to see them in Spain now. So,
all right. Question number 2 here: beyond skills, what's the one non-negotiable mental or character trait New Hera demands from its athletes?
I think, to me, as I said, and I keep repeating the word humble. To be humble, but also to be determined, and to understand that this is a very, very, very hard dream. It's to become a footballer, and you know very, very well, it's everything, but not easy.
Yeah.
It demands a lot of sacrifices. It demands to miss out a lot of friends, celebrations, dinners, family gatherings, weddings, and so many things that other kids, you know, like and teenagers keep going. So I think the first thing is you need to ask yourself, is this something that really comes from the end of your heart? Is this something you really want to pursue and to do? And if your response is yes, then ask it again and say, is this my real response, or this my dad? Is this my mom? Is this my brother dream? No, it's my dream. Okay, now I'm ready to go through everything that will come. So I think determination and being able to face all the challenges that will come. So this mental strength, I think that's the most important. To me, I think when I see a player, I think we see it very easily when we talk for like 1 minute, 2 minutes. You can feel something, right? You can feel the top players. You can feel, and you've not seen them in the field, but you can already tell. You know, so this matureness, mental matureness. I don't know. There's this mental kind of strengths that to me are the most important. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's well.
What did you struggle mostly in chasing the dream?
So to me, I was always extremely, I don't know where that comes from. I always ask, my parents, they just don't know. They said, you're always that way, the drive. And I always knew that I wanted to become that. So leaving my family, my friends, going against everyone, because my story is a little bit different, because I was on the path to play professional in Brazil. The chance of coming to the US to play for a university here just came up out of nowhere, right? I've never thought I was going to leave, my country, never thought I was going to ever speak a different language. Nothing. That just popped up out of nowhere because schools up here saw me playing down there. So with me being close to achieving the pro level in Brazil, telling my family and saying, hey, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to choose to go to the United States, to go to university and also play at a high level, because in Brazil, you just can't do both, right? You have to choose. I'm going to play soccer, forget about school, or I'm going to go to school, forget about soccer. Since I saw the opportunity, wait a minute, I can play soccer at a high level, but also go to school, get an education, experience, and then maybe after I graduate, I can become a professional player in the States. That's a dream, right? So then everyone went against me. Friends, family, everyone said, you're completely crazy. And I needed to pass on a test, right? It wasn't just football-wise. They said, yeah, come, but you have to pass on a test. How am I going to pass on a test that I don't even know how to say door, thank you, okay? I didn't know nothing, right? And I had 6 months to accomplish that, to be able to come here. So then for everyone, I was a lunatic, because then we started looking for professors in my hometown, outside of my hometown. All of these professors, they said, Armando, let me tell you something. The test you're trying to pass, we have students here. They've been with us for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. They haven't been able to pass on the test. And you're telling me you have 6 months, you know nothing about English, and you're going to pass? You're out of your mind, right? So then all these rejections, they just said, I never saw this being possible, ever. I just said, you know what? I'm going to go bananas, crazy. I'm gonna study English 24/7. I slept with New York radio in my ears, had no idea what they're talking about, but repetitions, right? Did that. Had sticky notes all over my house, all over my ceiling. When I was laying before sleeping, I was reading English words in the ceiling. Crazy story. Long story short, 3 months go by, I'm like, you know what, let me take the test, see what's going to happen. I take the test, failed miserably. And then everyone, family, friend, you see, you're crazy, you have 3 more months, you're not going to pass. So I needed 52 points to pass and be accepted here. 3 more months go by, I take the test again, and guess what? I got 53, right? I needed 52, I got 53. Crazy. So I think now, going back to your question, accepted, came here and received a full ride to play. So it was worth it, right? But the problem was, I think the most difficult part for me in achieving the professional level was the style of play in Brazil. It's much more technical and not very physical. When I arrived here, it's the opposite. It's much more physical than technical. So I think my body now, going back to what you said, the invisible training, I wasn't paying attention to my nutrition. I wasn't paying attention to, how important sleep is, hydration, right? The strength training, the mindset. I wasn't aware of none of that. So then, it gets to a point, overtrained, 3 games before the playoff, tore my ACL. Now I have to come back from an ACL surgery, all the rehab. Then, during that time, I get back, get cleared, go back playing. Guess what? Tore again, that same ACL, that same knee. So then, time is passing by. I'm not playing. It's been 2 years without playing. So I think, to me, that was the most difficult part, the mental and the physical side of my game, of my body that could not handle. So that's why when you mentioned that invisible training, I resonated with that so much, because I know how important that is for kids. I wish I knew the things that I know now when I was younger, right? So now for these kids to be paying attention, listening to this, it's like, please pay attention to your invisible training, because it's going to pay off. It's definitely going to pay off.
Exactly. And to me, the story you've explained, I think it already shows this mentality and this character, right? So when someone is doing this and putting stickers up and down here and there, and going against everything and everyone, that already says a lot. Then you can fail or you can succeed, right? But that determination and that idea, it's there, on fire.
Yeah, no, and when you said, I got goosebumps here when you said that, ask yourself, is that coming from the bottom of your heart? It's not your brother's dreams, sister's dreams, parents' dreams. Is that your dream? when you said that, I got goosebumps because I remember, right, that he played back to me everything that I went through, right? Because I always say that to my athletes when I'm coaching in person, because to me, the most impossible thing to do, right, is being born as a human being, right? We've all done that, right? So if there's anything impossible, we've accomplished that already. Now it's up to us, right, to achieve whatever we want to achieve. Because if people were able to become professional players, tons of them, it is hard, right? It is hard. We know that. However, it's not impossible because the impossible has been done. So yeah, everything that you've been saying, sharing with us here, it's I really hope a lot of people are listening and watching, because it is what's going to make a massive difference. Maybe you don't see that right now, but I can guarantee you in 5, 10, 15 years from now, it's going to pay off.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, next question here, Marty. How do you ensure athletes are prepared for a meaningful life and career once their playing days are over?
Yeah, no, I think from the mentoring and trying to offer this like 360 degrees kind of environment for the players, right? Where they have the support in all the ways. And actually, this is a project that we keep developing, we keep learning, and we keep trying to see the best way. Because of course, when we add the challenge that we work with a different continent, which in the whole history has not had many opportunities, it makes it, of course, more harder, right? So it's something that we keep assessing, and we keep adding people, areas that we believe they can serve our players, right? So from the emotional side, from the language side. So for example, the players that we know they're coming to Spain, we put them as Spanish teacher as soon as we can. So let's say if we can do it 1 year before they're gonna come, or 6 months or so. They're doing like online sessions with our Spanish teacher. Now also with Rodrigo, we are also looking at the mental health as the coach, right? So Rodrigo, with his experience as an ex-player at Villarreal, where he was at a top club, but many times not playing, he decided very similar career, I think, than you're right. He saw more opportunities in terms of education and football in the US. Then he went there. He was feeling very much alone, probably the language barrier, the physical attributes that you were talking about, and so on. So for us to be able to offer this kind of expertise to our players, so let's say Monday you will talk to once a month or once every 2 weeks, you will talk to Rodrigo, and he will give you like this experience. He will make a plan, work on this kind of invisible training. And then we want to add the financial kind of assessment. Okay, once you are part of us, when you start, of course, making some good money, how can you deal with it? How can you manage it? Some of these players will have already like a good family that will know more or less how to plan, but we always offer and always try to assess also in this aspect, where to invest it, how to empower your brand, how to make your brand, like all those kind of things. Are the 360 we want to be able to offer to all our athletes. And this is something that we are building. As I said before, we started from the bottom, and now we are building this phase, also seeing a lot of new tendencies, seeing changes in the market, FIFA regulations, visa issues, and so on. So looking at all these things, plus all the needs of the players, I think in the next few months or a year, I think we're going to have something extremely well done, that it's going to capture all these areas. And also, of course, as I said, you are always welcome and to ask. We talk with David, we say with Joe, with Lorraine as an ex-player. I mean, we want to do something very unique, very in a collaborative way, like for us, it's not like this is my player, I only want us to control this player. Like, no, we're very open. We're very in a way that we want this thing to be a common objective. We want the African market to take advantage of as many partners as possible. So always, guys, feel welcome. Feel free to make us grow as well, like in terms of knowledge, also tendencies that you see in the US. To me, it's very interesting to talk to David a lot of times, because a lot of things that you do in the US are very, very fresh, very new. Like even for Europe, sometimes a lot of things in technology, in business trends, in terms of football business, we always get it before in the US. So to me, as a company, we as a player, we try to evolve every single day. We never say we have this program, it's done, this is what we have. No. So to our players, what we can promise is that that you will be taken care of, that your life and your career will matter in all the aspects, from the football aspect to the emotional, to the physical, to the financial.
My quick comment on that, Armando, we lived it because my son was, went to Germany at 15, was doing very well, came back to the US, signed professionally right away, and was doing well as a professional at a very young age, and had 5 concussions and had to stop, and so it was very difficult, but what we learned and what we always told him was, like, try to better yourself every single day.
Yeah.
Even if it's something small, like get a book and read 15 minutes a day, get on YouTube, learn something about, some topic that you don't understand or you don't know. And so that's a homework assignment number 2. We'll put these in the description maybe. Number 1, obviously, is look up Cruyff. Number 2 is better yourself every day, right? Just small things. It doesn't have to be huge. Just talk to your dad. Ask your dad about something. You know what I mean? Like, say, I don't really understand how a mortgage works on a house. You know what I mean? Explain it. That's what we talked about the other day with my son. And now he's, okay, I understand what that means. So it's like, just better yourself every day. It doesn't need to be big. It could be something small, but I think that's the key. So that when you're done, you don't say, oh, wow, what am I gonna do now? I'll start bettering myself, right?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. No, we're definitely going to list the homeworks down below. And for the Cruyff one, actually a challenge here. For those of you that you've never seen, never heard of Cruyff, there's a move that's called the Cruyff turn. Watch that, master that skill, and post a video with you performing that move, and make sure to tag all of us here. New Hera, FC Game Changer, and Football Alive on all the social media platforms, that we're gonna share that video that you posted.
We will feature the best one too across all of our platforms. So just make sure you tag us, and we will share it across all. One quick thing about Cruyff, which I thought was really funny, when he got done as a professional, I read a couple books about him. He's just an amazing just personality, but like when he left as a professional, he wanted to coach directly. I think it was at Barcelona, and so, but the federation said, no, you don't have the proper licenses, to be the coach, right? So they made up the term technical director. He did. Okay, that's why people call it technical director, because he could be at training and be coaching, but he would say he's not the coach, he's the technical director. But he would run all the training sessions. Isn't that funny? Because they had to get around the fact that he was working on his licenses. That's a funny story. So anyway, so when you hear technical director, everyone has that. Now that's Cruyff.
That's amazing. I did not know that. I that's a fun fact. Last question here, last one to wrap up the Q&A. Marty, can you share a quick inspiring story of an athlete whose life New Hera has directly changed?
So I think, for example, one, and usually we talk also about players, but as I was saying, also on the coaching aspect, which usually it's something quite forgotten. So there was a coach that did one of the trips we organized here to Spain. We did like a mixed kind of experience that was mixed between Madrid and Valencia. They trained with Atletico de Madrid. They trained with Valencia. They visited all the stadiums. It was a very nice trip. So that coach that came with that academy, I think he was part of the coaching with the Spanish coaches and so on. And we really saw something on him. So when he was back to Kenya, I think his conditions in that academy were not probably the best or whatever. So he wanted a change. So we offered him one option of coaching with us and start this capacity building through the Crive and so on. And this coach, after a year, I think he's already involved in 2 programs. He's our representative of career advisory service, so mentoring and assessing a lot of youth players in terms of pathways, opportunities, in terms of education, football, scholarships, and so on. And actually, he's the head coach of this All-Stars team that is arriving today. So today he's back to Spain again, and he's having this opportunity to coach at this level, to mentor again a mix of very talented players. And for us, this is what we try to aim, right? To those who are really willing to grow from any perspective in terms of coaching or playing, to give them these tools. Then an easier one or so in one player that, for example, we intermediate very last summer transfer window. It was a Kenyan player, 18 years old player, that signed for Celta de Vigo. Celta de Vigo is a first division club in Spain. So he got a contract with the Celta Fortuna, which is the reserve team, but on a long term, which of course the main objective is that someday he will be an important player for the first team. So I think in terms of connections and trying to link these opportunities and changing life of players in a short notice, we've done also in this trip we're doing this week. We are bringing 6 sponsor players, which we're basically covering for the whole experience. And we believe that this tournament and all the content we're going to create around, it's going to also give them a lot of opportunities. And again, to me, I think we're in the 5% of what this project will be. I think we've impacted in many different ways, many different students and many different coaches in these last 2 years and a half, not even 3 years. But I think, and this is the dream, we're going to be able to impact thousands of youth players and different sports athletes. So, yeah.
You know, maybe in the next few months we could get some of those players on with Marty and, you know, and talk about their experience and all that. That'd be a great classroom session, right? Learning experience, right?
Yeah. And I think what we did, David, with you when you were visiting in Kenya, in the Madeira Assassins, right? Through the documentary, the first clips that were published, plus also the Starling setup, so that now these girls have access, right? So for us as New Era, when partners such this commit to this level and support projects that we're part of at this level, I mean, to us this is a huge accomplishment, and actually, like, we welcome any partner, you know, that is willing to support and grow the African sports. And we feel it as a success, because at the end of the day, we don't look at the success only what we do, but anything that we can bring directly or indirectly through what we're doing. I think it's something we should be proud of it. So I think I personally, before we end up, I want to thank David for his huge implication with Kenya and East Africa as of now, as the first stage, because really, like, it's not easy to find partners that get involved at this level of commitment, this level of impact at a short term. So to me, this is huge success, huge impact already with so many balls. I think we've donated already, David, and a lot more, which is to come. So yeah, just starting the wave.
Yeah, no, and since we're just, you know, we're mentioning the ball donation, let's get to it, Dave. Ball donation announcement. As you all know, today's classroom session is brought to you by Beyond Post, who will be donating 5 balls to Dave. Go ahead and announce the academy and the location where the academy is that will be receiving 5 balls.
First, I want to thank Beyond Pulse for this. And so this is exciting. We'll continue to make these announcements at the end of each show. So just make sure you guys are always following along till the end. So the winner of the 5 balls is Bill Gates Soccer Academy in Kenya. It's going to be given to their queens, which, if you don't know, that's the girls' side of their program. And so they're going to get 5 balls, Footballer Life Foundation balls, the same ones that are being used by the Kenya U17 national team in Ethiopia in their training. So these are good balls that are high quality, and it's great to be able to donate those from Beyond Pulse. So we're excited, and you guys will obviously be seeing this in the future, but when you see that, we'll make sure that those all get delivered. And then on the next episode, we'll actually show some of the impact from those balls.
Yeah, Dave, bring the ball to the screen here for people to see what ball you're talking about. You've showed that before. That is the ball right there. Yeah. And Beyond Post will be donating 5 balls to Bill Gates Soccer Academy located in Kenya. However, the QR code is on the screen here. Make sure you check that QR code, scan. It's going to take you directly for you to make a massive impact, create a massive impact by donating 1 ball. If you want to donate 5, 10, 20, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that you donate at least 1. And for all of you listening to the classroom session today here, there's a link below for you to go click there, and it's going to take you to the ball donation site at the Footballer Life website, and go ahead and make your donation. It's going to make a massive, 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 huge impact. Like Dave just said, I also wanted to thank Beyond Post for sponsoring our first ever classroom session. And of course, Marti, thank you so much for being part of this. We really, really appreciate you and everything that you shared with us.
Obrigado. I hope you've not forgotten your language, but no, man, it's been a pleasure. I think it was my first experience on a kind of setup like this. I think I felt like at home. I think it's been a nice chat. I've forgotten about all the stress I'm gonna get back to in the next 20 minutes. So no, thanks guys for inviting me, for giving us this platform also to communicate our vision and of course to try to empower the next generations of footballers. And we're here to help, we're here to support, and of course hopefully we'll see further collaborations together, all of us.
Definitely. And before you go, Marti, back to the stress, which is, in that case, it's a good stress to have. Tell people where they can find you. They can find New Hera.
Yeah, I think they can find us on our official website, www.newherainterconnection.com. Okay. Also on Instagram and Facebook at New Hera Interconnection. They will find us. Also in LinkedIn, we have a profile in LinkedIn. So basically all social media you can follow up from the tournament that we're gonna start this Friday to any initiative, any collaboration, any small project that we do. Everything is on social media and the website.
We're excited to see the content from these kids this next few days, so it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Let's do. We're having two filmmakers to
awesome.
Try to get as much as top content, because at the end of the day, as we always say, David, we need to tell stories.
Yes.
Nowadays, without telling the story, it never happens. So even though it's an investment, but I think also it's very important to be able to see what's going on. So hopefully you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, no, we're excited. So, well, thanks a lot for joining us. It's been an amazing conversation and our first show, but there'll be many more. And so follow us on YouTube and everything, and we'll be dropping these all over social media, right, Armando?
Yes. So yeah, for all of you here, it's gonna be on YouTube, the full episode. It's gonna be also on Apple Podcasts. And if you want to follow Footballer Life, it's on all platforms, basically Footballer Life. Just check that out. Follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And also FC Game Changer. It's at FC Game Changer on all platforms. We deliver valuable pieces of content on a daily basis, at least one piece of content. And also the website, fcgamechanger.com, where we publish one blog a week that's related to what we talked about. I love what Marty said, the invisible training. It's based on mindset, strength, and nutrition, and some soccer-related topics as well. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for listening. This is just the first classroom session. Really appreciate all of you watching, listening, and for those of you that scan the QR code, that click the link below to donate a ball, thank you guys so much. You're making a massive impact. And Dave, thank you so much. Marty, again, super appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Hope you have a good night. Take care. Yeah. It's been a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.